All right, now it looks like it's recording on GarageBand. Hopefully that continues in the background.
Good. So, how much time have you got for this? Because I'd like to go for an hour as the usual rough.
Man, I have carved out the whole afternoon for you, Troy.
That's what I love to hear. That is what I love to hear.
let's just do this. I'm so ready.
Hello and welcome back to the Redcast, the show all about exploring the world of entertainment and the many forms it takes. I'm your host Troy, and welcome to episode 6 of season 2. As a lot of you no doubt know by this point, this episode was brought out 48 hours early for my Patreon supporters, so if you'd like to listen to these episodes on Saturdays rather than Mondays, all you have to do is head to www.patreon.com/RedArcherLive and pledge as little as £1 to get that early access. In this episode of the podcast, I sit down and talk to actor Josh Lenn as he talks about his roles in the Payday universe, playing the face of Hoxton and the voice of Bodhi, as well as his work outside of the acting field as a transformational coach in what became a very interesting segment of the interview as he discussed with me about how his work had evolved, especially over the last year due to the coronavirus pandemic. This one was a really interesting chat and I hope that you all enjoy it, so without any further ado, let's get right into the episode. So, we will kick off quite simply by me asking, how are you doing today?
Nice. I'm doing good. I'm actually feeling great. Spring is in the air. Although it's pretty fucking cold still. But at least there's some sunshine. But I'm good. I'm fired up to be here with you, Troy. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm glad that we managed to get this sorted. I mean, we arranged it quite quickly. You know, sometimes these things take a while to get sorted, but I messaged you about it and you just went, how's 2 days from now? And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I love it. Spontaneous. Let's just do this shit. Yeah.
It's been good. Yeah, it's been good. So we've got plenty we could talk about. I'm really excited to get into this because you've got quite a unique position the way you've had several different roles with Payday. I know you've said you've got some very cool behind the scenes stories, so I'm looking forward to hearing those. But I think a good point for us to start off would be to talk about your introductions as an actor. So what got you into the industry? You know, what were some of your early roles? What started you off in that area?
Oh yeah. Well, it actually started way back when I was in college. I went to UCLA. And I was living in LA, and I wanted to do acting, but I didn't really know what the hell I was doing. And I did a little bit of modeling, and then all of a sudden I got a manager. Classic LA shit, you know. And then it sent me out on some auditions, and I really did not know, like, what to do. I did not know what was going on. I was partying a lot. I wasn't in the right mindset to really go after it. So I kind of put it on the shelf, and I moved back to San Francisco, where I'm from. And a few years later, I'm like, you know what? I need to do this. So I started taking acting classes at ACT, which is American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco. And I went for it. And I did a lot of theater. I love theater. I did a lot of theater and started working around the Bay Area. And did a lot, you know, just did some different shit like commercials and, you know, whatever I could kind of get in. And, took off from there. And then I moved to Sweden, where I've been the last 12 years, which is, God, it's a long time. I'm almost having my Swedish bar mitzvah. And then through that time, I've done all different kinds of acting, from TV, film, lots of different video games, scripted theater and unscripted theater. I'm super passionate about improv. I do a lot of improv. I'm the artistic director of an improvised theater here in Stockholm called International Theater Stockholm. And yeah, that's really where my nerdy passion about acting lies. That's kind of what I'm really, really hooked into right now. I mean, I like doing other stuff too, but I find it way more boring and unsatisfying compared to the spontaneity and excitement of improv.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm already getting that impression from you, the spontaneity. It's good, though. I mean, if you've got that ability to just jump off just like 1-2 and improvise something and do it well, then it's a really good talent.
It is a good talent. It's actually super beneficial for video games. I've done loads of motion capture, and I think motion capture is actually the perfect type of acting for someone who loves acting and improvisation, because you're being thrown into all these different worlds, yet you're in some boring ass studio with like 64 mocap, cameras, and maybe some props that some look legit, some look, like here's a wood block that's actually like a secret door in the year 2307. So I think you really need to use this ability to create a world that we train so much in improvisation and dive into that world of mocap. So it's been a really nice kind of crossroads for me as an actor to be in video games.
Yeah, motion capture has always been something that fascinates me. I love the whole the way it works. I mean, yeah, because it's a lot of it's down to imagination, isn't it? You've got to be able to visualize everything and then act off it, and it's becoming more common. I mean, the most recent I've seen, there's a franchise of games called Life is Strange. I don't know whether you've heard of them, but when they were revealing their newer game a couple of weeks ago, they were talking about how everything had been done with motion capture and showed some of it. There was someone holding a broom, kind of like what you'd said, pretending to play the guitar, and you could see that how they'd put it in the game and developed it. It was so impressive. I just love the whole way that works. It's such a fantastic invention. I think it really does. It helps actors, especially with video games, to actually do more of the physical aspect that you might lose when you're just doing the voice acting.
Definitely. Yeah, and that's so fun now that you can do it. Performance capture. You do both at once.
Yeah.
And of course we're still doing it the old way too, where it's like someone's doing the mocap, the voice actors in LA. And that happens. I just done that recently. However, the performance capture, you get it all at once, and it's like you're shooting a movie or you're, shooting TV, except you don't have to change any of the camera around or the lights or, it moves at a quicker pace. And it's a little bit more exciting. I can't stand all the hurry up and wait of TV and things like that. I love shooting the shit in the green room. Don't get me wrong. I love that shit. It's more exciting than the actual filming often for me. But, mocap is different. It moves, and it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. It is. It's so good. So what games have you done motion capture for? You got a couple of examples.
Yeah, so I've done like a bunch in the Battlefield franchise, Battlefield Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3. Did a little bit in Battlefield 4. I don't know, is it Battlefield 4 or what it was? I've done stuff in like Wolfenstein, Walking Dead. A couple of Wolfensteins, like Mad Max, Star Wars Battlefront, a lot of different shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of different games. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and there's one more that I'm thinking of right now that I loved. It was a Starbreeze game before Starbreeze and Overkill went together. And it was a reboot of a game in the 90s. I can't remember it now. That was one of my all-time favorites. Yeah, I love mocap. Mocap's fun. I actually did some mocap for Payday.
Did you?
I did. That's how much shit I've done on Payday 2. The Reservoir Dogs trailer. I don't know if you remember that little homage to Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
That's me, baby, doing the Michael Madsen dance where I go and then I cut off the ear.
Oh my God.
That's right.
I was just watching that again the other day. That's fantastic.
No shit. You watched that. Yeah. That was fun as shit to film. I can imagine. Oh my God, we were dying on set. I remember Emil was there. Yeah, we were just totally fucking around. It's super fun when you get to dance in a mocap suit. It looks extra ridiculous. But it was fun because I was also the cop, Of course, someone was sitting in that seat in the beginning. It was just me. I was the only actor there that day. And then I'm playing off the Starbreeze dudes and, cutting the ear off. And yeah, it was so fun because I love Reservoir Dogs. This is one of the things I love about video games in general, and also Payday 2, is sometimes you get to do these little homages to a movie. Or you get to step into a character that's kind of iconic, like that little Reservoir Dogs scene. I love that scene when I was younger. And Michael Madsen was terrifying in that role.
Yeah.
As Mr. Blonde, right? So it was super fun to play that.
That's a good segue into the next thing I want to talk to you about, which was getting into Payday 2. So you've had, that adds to the list of roles I already knew that you had, because you've been the face of Hoxton, you've been the voice of Bodhi, you've done motion capture work. There's probably more stuff to that at this rate, to be honest. So let's go right from the beginning. So what was your first encounter with Payday 2 and with Overkill? What started you with them?
So I'm worked with Tor Helmstein. Do you know Tor? Have you talked to Tor? So Tor,
I haven't talked to him now.
No, okay. So Tor's awesome. I love that guy. We've had so much fun together over the years at like 3 different video game companies now. So he used to be at Avalanche, so we worked together on Mad Max.
Okay.
We filmed that out actually your way. We did that at like Pinewood and what is it called? Pinewood and Sherwood, or what's the other one? Sherman? What the fuck is the other
I think
studio?
it might be Sherman. I can't remember. Pinewood's the one I know. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we filmed like the vertical slice for Mad Max out there. We had a blast. And then Tor went over to Starbreeze, and he called me up and he's like, "Yo, motherfucker, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this shoot for this game called Payday 2, and come on over." And I was like, "Sweet." And I remember I went over there, and this was back when Goldfarb was game director. I knew him from DICE because I worked with him on Bad Company 2. He wrote that, and he's great. I love that dude. And so, yeah, I was with Tor. Tor brought me in, and he had written this Hoxton breakout. To be honest with you, I did not know much about Payday 2. I knew nothing about it. And I was like, whoa, this is a crazy script. You know what I mean? This is so violent. And I'm in. I'm like, let's do this.
I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm sold. Where am I going?
Exactly. I'm like, I'm so in. And, you know, it just kept getting better and better. I got to the set. It was like we were going to do 2 weekends. One weekend we were going to do in Stockholm. That was kind of like the car scene where we did these like super guerrilla filmmaking. Like the best part about that shoot is I was the only actor. It was me and 11 stunts. 11 stunts. Seriously.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is weird. I don't think I've ever been in this situation, like 11 stunt people and me. And we had a blast. I mean, it was super fun to work with all them. You know, they really made me feel safe amidst all the violence. And that was kind of like my intro to Hoxton, you know, and getting into the Payday world. And that shoot was so fun. It was wild, you know, because it was like, all right, hop in this truck. You know, we didn't have like Stockholm really, like, we didn't rent out streets. You know what I mean? We're like in some pickup truck on Friday traffic. You know, like, okay, I think we did block that one street where I come out, like, where they just bust me out of jail.
Yeah.
But then we hop in the car. They had like just this little belt I would like put my arms under, like, to hold myself in the car. And then we'd start, you know, kind of taking off through Stockholm, and we do the scenes. And that was a blast. That was a super fun intro to the Payday world. And I loved getting into that Hoxton role. And also getting that scar on my face. Wow.
It was quite a good scar, that. That was quite graphic. It was well done.
It was a fucking great scar. And that brought out something inside of me that was like primal. You know what I mean? Like just this, you know, like, oh yeah, we're going there, baby. I think that scar was really one of those wonderful gifts you get as an actor to go someplace of like, you know, a little bit evil. Because, I mean, if you watch that trailer, I actually showed my daughter that the other day. Now that she's of age, she's 16 now. But when I filmed that, I was like, well, I don't want to really show her. Because
I can't say I blame you.
When they're like drilling into the head, I mean, it's pretty graphic, you know?
Yeah, they don't hold a lot back in that one, to be fair.
No, they really don't. But that was so much fun, getting that scar. It's actually this great makeup guy, Andish. I can't remember his last name, but he's in Gothenburg Studios. He's got this great place. I was there once when I was filming out that way. You know, I would get to the parking lot stuff we did for that Hoxton shoot, and there'd be like an arm just like some bloody arm hanging out, like all these props, you know, and they look so real. Because he would come with all these great stuff. Because when we have the machine gun scene, like one of those cops gets the arm blown off, and all that shit was just like lying around on set. But it definitely puts you in a mood. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I'm gonna go shoot a bunch of cops, and it brings out something inside of you that's a little bit wild and primal.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
My goodness.
It was fun shit. Yeah. So that was kind of the initial thing. I had no idea in the beginning when I signed on that my voice was going to be dubbed.
I was going to ask about that, yeah, because I think some people still don't know that you were the face, like the face and the voice of Hoxton were completely different, because obviously you were the face and then Pete Gold provided the vocal tones for Hoxton. They are two different people, which, I mean, I've known for ages, but there's still people to this day who say, was that really the case? Like, yeah, it was weird. It was a very odd situation.
Yeah, it was totally weird. Pete Gold's voice is so good. I mean, his voice is so iconic to the game. They couldn't get rid of him, you know, and that's saying something. You know, they were like, "Wow, we gotta do this." You know, this voice is so good. We're gonna build a different person. You know, like we're gonna work around it, which is really saying something for Pete Gold. Love it. But I must say, the first time, because I didn't really know, you know what I mean? They kind of just told me casually, I think. Like, oh yeah, your voice is going to be dubbed. I'm like, oh, really? Interesting. And I remember the first time after that came out, watching it, I was like, whoa, what the fuck is this?
That's not my voice, what's going on?
It was so startling. It was like, oh my God. You know, that accent coming out of my mouth. But then you watch it over and over and you're like, ooh, I kind of like it. It was, you know, but it definitely took like watching it a bunch of times to get over the weirdness of hearing that voice come out of my mouth. But yeah, really fun, really, really fun stuff to shoot, and a blast to work with Tor. And the director on that, Rickard Holm, is a Swedish director, and he's wild. He's super fun, you know, and it just felt like, it was really high paced. There was often like 2 cameras. We would just move, you know, like, okay, we rented out this like hospital in Uppsala, which is a town like an hour away from Stockholm.
Yeah.
And I guess it used to be like a mental hospital or something. We were like down in the fucking catacombs filming down there.
Wow.
And it was spooky, you know, like being in these like long corridors in the basement. And that's the scene in the beginning where it's like the bomb goes off. It's like, it's payday, fellas! I said it's motherfucking payday! You know, and then it's like, boom, and the explosion goes off. That was filmed in these catacombs down there.
Wow.
Of this like mental hospital. Yeah, it was just, the whole thing was this weird mood to it, you know? And it brought out a lot of kind of weird stuff, and I would like to say all of us. But yeah, it was really fun. It was really fun. It kind of felt like, you know, it had this like wild feeling to the shoot, like all these like super professional people, but we're like, we're gonna do this guerrilla style, you know what I mean? Like boom, 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 boom. And then we're like in this parking garage in a mall in Sweden where it was like the mall closed. Go! We're gonna film all these violent scenes overnight, you know what I mean? We gotta be done by sunrise. So the whole thing was just fun.
Yeah, I can imagine, honestly. Like, and I suppose, like, as you're saying about bringing out the wild side, I mean, if you are filming underneath a mental hospital and you've got a massive burn scar on your face, it's going to give you that kind of vibe. You're going to be like, yeah, this is something different. This is something very different.
Definitely. Yeah, I felt evil. I remember doing this scene where I'm like, in the beginning when I'm walking in chains. Those chains are so broke-ass, too. Like, there wasn't a normal lock on it. It was just a long fucking chain that we, like, wrapped around my legs a bunch of times. And I remember, like, that scar and the chains, just feeling like, I'm gonna kill all these. I'm gonna kill everybody. You know, it brought... I remember...
So you get to have a psychotic evaluation after the filming?
Totally. Like, oh my God, a detox. I gotta get this Hoxton character out of me.
Oh, wow. But that wasn't the only character that you played, because, as a lot of people will probably more likely know, you were the voice of Bodhi. So how did you go from being the face of Hoxton to then, a year or so later, taking on the voice of a whole different character?
Yeah, that was cool. So all the, though they like my voice, and I've done a lot of voice work. I guess that was also back when, Simon Wiklund, I think is how you say his name.
Wiklund,
Yeah, he does all the music and the sound. He left there, but he does amazing music. Oh my God. He made me this awesome music I had this improv show called Mission Improbable. Simon did the music for that as well. I got him to do this trailer thing for that. And then when the Point Break movie came out, they called me up and they're like, hey, we've got this in-game promotion. They're putting Bodhi from Point Break in the game. And this was another one of those little boy wet dream scenarios where I'm like, oh my God, yes. I love Swayze. I loved him. I loved everything Swayze. I loved Roadhouse. I loved Dirty Dancing. I mean, anything Swayze, I was in when I was a kid. Outsiders. I was in on Ghost, okay? That's how in on Swayze I was. And I love Point Break. So I was like, oh my God, yes, I get to be Bodhi. And I really wanted to do, they were like, you get a lot of freedom. I worked a lot with Hampus on that shoot, who's now at Avalanche. He's great. And they really gave me a lot of freedom to play with that character, because they're like, this is to promote the new movie, but, obviously we can't have the actors playing Bodhi be in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, sweet, we're going to do an homage to Swayze. So I watched Point Break, and I tried to pick up a little things very Swayze-ish. And I'm from California, so I got to kind of embrace my inner California surfer dude, and I love how, if you watch Point Break, the original one, because the new one is dead to me. I didn't even watch it. Sorry. I apologize for that, Point Break.
I haven't seen it either, so don't worry about it. It's all good.
Yeah, but I mean, the Swayze, Keanu, I mean, it was a big part of my youth. So watching it, he picked up an amazing character. Loved to call everyone amigo and compadre, and somehow he was one of those villains who you couldn't help but fall in love with,
Yeah.
And I think that's that's an amazing skill. I think it's a very underlooked skill as an actor, where they play a villain where you're just whoa, I'm rooting for this person. The last thing you want is for this person to die. So that was really fun. In my time doing video games, I've gotten to do a few things like that, where you get to play some character who you actually loved as a kid.
Yeah.
So that was really fun to do, Bodhi. And just embrace that. Those Payday voice shoots, I actually heard you talking a little bit. I heard your pod with Pete Gold, and he was talking about how brutal those were.
Yeah.
And I was just listening to it and head nodding, oh yeah, oh my God.
They do sound really brutal. I mean, hours on end of just screaming at a microphone. It's it's no wonder you had to re-record some of them, because your voice you can't handle that.
Oh my God. And he, and he was saying that pod that he did a 4-hour session, and I was chin on the ground. I mean, he was obviously the guinea pig for that. Thank you, Pete. And then after that, we did these 2-hour sessions, which were still incredibly brutal, because you're doing these, what they call throat rippers, where you're just 110% screaming for your life, right? On that third level of the game, when the cops are there, and you got to yell over the gunfire, and those just destroy you.
Yeah.
So you definitely, you walk into a voice session at Payday and you limp out. That's definitely how I would describe it.
I mean, that's testament to your work. It means you put the effort in. So,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it didn't hold anything back. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, I love that analogy, though. I love that analogy so much. You walk in and you limp out. That is a brilliant summation of it. Oh, God, the effort vocally you have to put into it.
Oh yeah, there's more actually too. Because I was in the hotline. I was in that little trailer for the hotline. Oh no, it's the hotline, not him when the chicken comes in.
Oh, were you the guy in the chair?
So I was actually like the dude. That shoot was super guerrilla shit.
Yeah.
So Tor called me up. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this trailer. Can you do Russian accent?" I'm like, "Yeah, I guess good enough, right? You know."
Duh.
Yeah, we do it. The hotline, right? Fuck it. And so we go in, and it's literally, we're literally shooting that in the basement of the Starbreeze office building.
Wow, okay.
So I guess they rented out, or they fixed, we're in some storage room. And I walk in, and the whole thing's covered in plastic, like it's a mob hit, which was what they wanted, that I was this person who was going to get beaten. I was going to get hit. It was me as one of the stunt dudes, and Tor, and Emil, who's a producer now at Starbreeze. I think he's done probably a million different things there, but he also played the chicken. All right. Oh, so, which is a weird. It was just the weirdest thing ever to have that chicken character. And so I did that whole shoot with a GoPro on my forehead. You know what I mean? So that shoot is like my hands, you see my hands, right? Me like out the GoPro, getting the shit beat out of me by the stunt dude. And I think I had like a mouthful of blood, or I don't know how we did the blood. Like he would hit me, and I would like spit the blood, and then you would see the blood through the GoPro, like wherever my head went, there was blood. Yeah. And he was beating me, and I'm the one talking. And then at the end, Emil comes in with the chicken. I don't know, like it was this weird Inglourious Bastards moment, You remember that scene in Inglourious Bastards where you hear the bat banging on the wall, and you're like, oh shit, what's this, right? And then that's Emil like banging the bat on the wall, and then boom, this chicken appears.
If you didn't know who that was, you'd be like, who is this standing in the doorway holding a baseball bat? What is going on?
Yeah, and I was genuinely freaked out as the actor. Like, I was not acting. I'm like, what the fuck is this situation here? And
so you didn't know the chicken was going to appear. You just saw him and went.
The first time, I'm like, what is that? Yeah, and Emil didn't know. The funny thing is, he had never played baseball, right? He didn't grow up in the States. So I remember that, like, he did not know how to swing a baseball bat. That was, like, the hardest part of that shoot, was getting him to, like, swing it so it looked natural. But he did. Yeah, that was fun. So I guess I've done some weird shit on Payday.
I guess you have.
It's fun to relive this shit. And then, there's a couple times on the Hoxton trailer where I think I dubbed one of the guards, too, because my voice wasn't in it. So, little small-known trivia facts that maybe no one cares about.
You'd be surprised, You'd be surprised. I hope the Payday wiki picks up on some of this stuff, and we'll just see changes after this comes out and be like, oh, there you go. People have found out. It's more trivia.
Yeah, I'm never surprised by the Payday fans, I must say. Wow. I couldn't believe it. To be honest with you, the Payday fans kind of freaked me out in the beginning. I was like, whoa, who are these people getting in touch with me? Like, kind of like...
hardcore.
Yeah. I wasn't ready. I didn't really get the Payday universe at all in the beginning, because I'd been in a lot of other games, that were much bigger, where no one ever reached out to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, I was in Battlefield 3. That was like some big-ass AAA game. It was like crickets. No one ever wrote me, and all of a sudden, like, after Hoxton, all these people started reaching out to me. I'm like, who are these people? You know what I mean? And to be honest, it freaked me out a little bit. I was like, whoa, I kind of kept it at arm's length. And then when I met, when we were in Barcelona filming the ending there, and I met Eric and Damien and those dudes.
Yeah.
For the first time, they were like, I mean, they've been in way more shit than I have. But they were like, totally embraced it. And they're like, oh, we have like fan art and like all this stuff. And I was like, whoa, wow.
There's a lot of that stuff out there. It is wild. It's so cool.
Yeah. So this is kind of like when you contacted me, I'm like, yeah, time to embrace Payday. Let's talk about it. You got me at a time where it just seemed super fun to go over this stuff because feels like it's been a long time.
Yeah, it has. I think the last 12 months have made everything feel like a long time ago. To be fair, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been wild. I know Eric said similar things. He said that he kind of done his stuff for Payday and then kind of put it on a shelf and just left it for a bit. And he said he enjoyed exploring the stuff again and talking about it. So let's touch on Barcelona a bit then, because obviously that was your first time, as you've said now, when you were doing Hoxton Breakout, it was just stuntmen all around you, which it doesn't surprise me too much because I remember when I spoke to Damien about that, he was saying, if the mask is over my face, it's not me. So I was thinking, that probably applies to the other people as well, but I wasn't 100% sure. So you saying that doesn't surprise me, but it's also like, wow, so there's just one actor amongst all of these other stuntmen. You're the one who's getting to shine. So now when you go to Barcelona and you've got the other actors who played these characters for sometimes as long or less than you, what was it like interacting with everybody there?
Oh, it was so fun. So much fun. So good to meet Eric and Damien and Lockie and all everyone. Ilya. It was wild. It was like, I think they had worked together a lot more because, they did a lot in LA, and I was just kind of like redheaded stepchild in like the like the person in Stockholm who was just like, oh yeah, that Hoxton person. I definitely wasn't one of the gang, but as soon as I met all those dudes, it just felt like, yes, we're home.
Yeah.
We had a blast. So it was really fun to work with them and, just get to know them as people and kind of see their journey. That's what I enjoyed the most about that shoot.
Yeah, it must have been a really, really cool experience.
It was super cool. Plus, who doesn't want to go to Spain? And
exactly. And if you're getting paid to do it, it's even better, like...
Oh yeah, and like I can tell you, like the rates kept getting better and better with Payday. You're like, ooh, this game's growing. But yeah, it was nice to get paid, go to Barcelona, and then be driven out to some like beach they rented out. We rented out this little beach patch, and we stayed in this hotel. We had these awesome dinners. And we hung out, not only just all the actors, but the Star Breeze people. We had these really fun kind of Payday family dinners, that's how it felt. It felt like camp. We were staying at this weird, like, all-inclusive hotel where no one else was because it was off-season. It was just all these Payday people. Felt like Payday camp. With a bunch of Payday dorks hanging out.
You're selling it quite well. It does sound like a really good time. It really does.
It really was. It really, really was. And the shoot, obviously was this weird kind of thing where they tried to wrap up the ending. And I think it was fun because I never got to play off any of those dudes. A little bit surprising, I think. I was super surprised to know that the scar was not going to be on my face. This was this was the only thing about that shoot I was like, what? Kind of felt like cutting off Hoxton's balls, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that was a bit strange. I did wonder about that because it was, I don't know, I was trying to remember whether it was there, but it was just a bit more faint, or whether it wasn't there at all. But definitely, yeah, I did notice that it wasn't the same as in Hoxton Breakout. I did look and go.
Yeah, it wasn't there at all. And, I think it was justified by this new, I don't remember all of the justification.
Hoxton's
but I
had
remember
plastic surgery with all of his money, and now he's got rid of the scar.
Totally. But I was like, would I really get rid of it? I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, it does seem a bit weird to have. It doesn't seem something he'd bother with getting rid of.
No, he loves it. Loves it. You know what I mean? I think that was a tough pill for me to swallow. But it's nice to hang out on some beach chairs, throw some, film it, and learn a lot more about the Payday world, like all of that stuff that, Eric and Damien and them have kind of gone through over the years. Fascinating stuff. I was kind of like on the outside of a lot of it. So hearing about it and getting into that world was a blast.
Was it at all a bit stranger when you came back to film in Barcelona because you knew this time around you were going to get dubbed before you'd filmed the scenes?
Yeah, I think, it messes with your head a little bit as an actor. Because now I knew Pete's voice, and I'm like, it's like not an accent that just rolls off the tongue for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, not at all. And when you're saying words like wanker and stuff that Americans don't really throw around, and like arse, you don't say arse.
Yeah, no, you say ass, you don't say arse.
Yeah, exactly. But you want to be authentic when you're saying it, but at the same time, I'm hearing Pete's voice. So it is a mindfuck. It is a mindfuck as an actor to get it out. Jesus, I've dropped like 30 F-bombs. Oh my God, I apologize. Am I not supposed to swear on here?
You're absolutely fine. As long as it isn't within the first 30 seconds, YouTube are fine with it. And Spotify, I don't know. I'm going to presume they don't care.
Okay.
You're absolutely fine. You're all good. It just means you're passionate. That's what matters.
Well, I think
We'll go with that.
You're bringing it out of me, Troy. I don't know. Maybe it's the Payday world, all those like...
Hey, I'll take it as a compliment. I'm all right with that.
All right, cool. Because, every time I've done anything Payday, I swear all the time. Whether it's in the VO sessions or the Hoxton character, it's a lot of swearing. But I think it was definitely weird, and I think it got in my head a little bit because the director was like, oh, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to film you straight on because of the dubbing. We might not do like a close-up, or I remember there was I don't remember exactly what it was we talked about, but it got in my head a little bit because I know it's not the most perfect science of getting Pete's accent into my Americanness.
Yeah.
But he did a tremendous job. I mean, when I watch it, the ending, Pete nailed it. They really had it down. So it worked. It worked. But it was definitely a more toned down Hoxton compared to the, I kind of went from the Hoxton breakout, which was like full on Hoxton. And then the next thing we did was that barbecue. I don't know if you remember the barbecue trailer. That was one. You remember that? That was one of my favorite days as an actor. Honestly, I had no idea what it was. Tor's like, we're doing the shoot for Payday. Show up, right? We're at this studio in Stockholm, like this kind of nice indoor studio. And I show up and Tor looks at me, he's like, you're getting a flamethrower.
It's like a pull off the glasses moment, just like, we're giving you the flamethrower. And you're like, what?
And I was like, yes!
I didn't know I needed this until just now, but now I want it.
Yeah. Oh, it was one of the happiest moments of my life as an actor. I mean, a flamethrower. I felt like, Arnold Schwarzenegger or something. It was super fun to shoot that. And then all of a sudden, this Hoxton is just chilling in a beach chair with no scar. So it was quite a leap from what I was used to. But fun stuff. Really fun stuff to work on, and especially be officially part of the Payday actor family, as well as my Payday family was so much of the Starbreeze dudes and the stunt dudes, who are all lovely. Just have so much fun working with everybody there.
Yeah, it's so clear that you all had so much fun. I mean, there's those like pictures, like one of the ones that you sent me that I'm using for the promotional art of you like holding the gun and kissing it and all that. Like those pictures, I see them going around all the time. There's so many cool pictures that come from shoots like that. It's so clear how much fun you all have when you're doing it, and it really does reflect through.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's so much fun. I mean, and you know, all the other actors, like they're just such lovely people. Such lovely people, you know, and great actors. But yeah, I just felt like, this is a wonderful shoot to be on. You know, not just because it's on the beach and blah, 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 but it's because, you know, I genuinely enjoy them. And you know, I love, all, like finding out what a nerd Damien is and all this stuff he's into.
Oh, yeah. He's mental. I mean, when I chatted him, we spent about half an hour, 40 minutes talking about Marvel stuff. You know, we went mental on that. He loves all that stuff, which is great for me because I got to talk about loads of that with him. That was a blast. But
yeah. I listened to part of that pod, and I literally the nerd levels were so they were so high. I'm like, no, I can't do it. I can't.
As soon as I mention your Avengers, you're like, nope, I'm out. Nope, that's it. We're done. I'm all right. Oh, God. I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine people being like that because it did definitely go off in a different direction. But I said that to him because it was like we'd done an interview. He was the first person that actually ever interviewed for anything YouTube or like podcast related or anything. And we'd covered a lot of that ground already about Payday. So I was like, you know, let's do something different. We want to talk about more of that stuff. Let's factor that in. He was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So we just went off on one. And it was so much fun.
Yeah.
But speaking of him, he said something that I thought was really interesting, which relates to, you know, all the enjoyment and how much fun the shoot was. Because he said to me that the live action stuff was so well received because they obviously started it with the web series like before the game had even come out, and they kept doing these live action things right up until that beach shoot in Barcelona. And he said that because they were so well received, they slowly increased the budget for them as they went along because they knew they were getting such a great reaction. He wanted to put more love, more time, more funding into it, and it did show. I mean, you can look at some of the early web series stuff and compare it to Barcelona. You can see some very clear improvements across that time period, and it's such a good thing. It was such a fantastic and unique thing to Payday that I really, really loved, and a lot of people did.
Yeah, and I get it. You know, it gets you so much more emotionally attached to the world.
Yeah.
To have these characters, to go on their journey, you know, to fall in love with. And you get it. I mean, I've worked on so many games. To be honest, I don't play the games, Troy. I'm not a gamer.
That was going to be my next question. Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. No, I have 3 kids, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't want to get divorced. That would be me going into gaming, you know? I would be like, because
that's the most solid answer you could have given to that question. It's not like, oh, I don't have the time, or I'm not sure I'm into it. I don't want to get divorced. I like my marriage. I'm not compromising that.
Totally, because I'm not one of those people. You know, I would get sucked in. I would.
Yeah.
It's too addictive. The games are too good. But I've been in, like I said, I've been in loads of games, and by far, Payday has the most like fanatic fan base. I think they all feel this ownership that's kind of shocking, and I think the live action stuff has a lot to do with that. Is everyone is invited into this world and this journey, and like, you know, it's fun. I can't believe more games don't do it. And I think that they do this lovely thing where it's like, it's serious, you get great actors, like everyone does their job in this serious way, but it has this playfulness of like, you know, that you find in like the 80s, 90s action movies, like the Die Hards and the Point Breaks, and, you know, this amazing playfulness that's just magnetic. And I think Payday owns that, and I think that's why people love it.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't many games that have their own conventions. I mean, Payday hasn't had one for a while now, and I'm really hoping they do it some point. They did a couple in, like, 2015, 2016. They did these huge Payday cons that a few of the actors went to that I wish I'd been old enough, because back when they were doing that, I was, like, 15, 16, so it wasn't really, like, going to the country for a convention was not really something that was on my radar, and once I'd gotten old enough to be like, no, I could go there, they didn't do anymore, sadly, so I'm hoping they do more in the future. But Man, they look like such good fun, and there's not many games that could pull that kind of thing off. You know, have a whole convention like across a weekend or whatever, where it's just about this one game that's so loved by so many different people. It's such a fantastic feeling and such a really cool and die-hard community. There's not many games that have that kind of support.
Yeah, no, I've never seen it. So wait, what got you into it? What hooked you, Troy?
Well, I first got it, it was about a year after it came out, so around the time where you probably would have been shooting the Hoxton thing, a similar point in time, I just saw it advertised on my Xbox. It was like a game where it was like all about robbing banks and things, and I'd played a lot of GTA 5 because that had just come out the year before, and there were loads of like bank robberies and stuff in that, and I was like, ooh, a game that's just that seems like really good fun. So I picked it up on the Xbox 360, and I've been playing it on different consoles since and moved to PC. And it's just been such a fun time I've poured so many hours into that, like it's ridiculous. There's something like my Xbox has something like 2,000 hours on it. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of time. Yeah,
what?
You have a lot. There are people who have way more than that, and I'm sat here like I've been playing it for years on end, and I've that much. How have you? I've seen like 4,000, 5,000. I've seen even higher amounts, and I'm like, how? Because I thought I was bad, but.
What? Wait.
Yeah, a lot
sorry.
of time.
I'm not recovering from this. 2,000 hours?
Over.
If
I actually worked it out, it'd probably be even more than that. But it's over 2,000. I know that much.
Oh my God, my friend. I really hope, hey, I hope Payday sends you a prize. You deserve it.
What's the outside like, Josh? What's the outside?
It's beautiful. It's amazing, Troy. You're like, you don't even know about COVID. You're like, what?
Yeah, what is this a viral? What?
I've been in a cave. I've been robbing banks.
No, to be fair, they've reached out to me. I've got a partnership thing going with them where they give me like a bit of early information, like content and things like that, and I've been able to get a bit more information, give out some codes to people. So there's been a good relationship with them, which is nice because it's good to get some recognition back. I think probably what put me on their radar was because you probably don't know too much about it, but on the console versions of Payday 2 for like Xbox and PlayStation, they have had some pretty bad times. The support's not been as good for a whole number of different reasons, and most of the creators only played PC. They just didn't associate with the console versions. They didn't care about them. So my thing was, because I was playing on Xbox anyway, I was like, right, well, I'll make videos for that and talk about what's going on with consoles, and that was what built me up. So that's probably what put me on their radar, but it was just because it was so much fun to play, and it still is now. I mean, the game's been out for, well, it would be 8 years in August, which is ridiculous when you think about it. It's like, it's such a long amount of time, and for the game to still be getting updates now is fantastic, but it's been a really wild time. It's been a really, really good time, and it's cool that they're still going. They've still got this huge community behind them. I mean, I see them constantly posting, "Oh, we're in the top 10 played games on PC today." It's like, there's loads of people playing, keep coming in and playing the game, and it's fantastic.
Wow.
It really is. They do such a good job with it, and it's really, really fun to see. It really is.
Yeah. Wow. Impressive. Well, I'm glad they've recognized you.
Thank you.
And and you're putting out great content on top of that. So good job, Troy. Really.
I really appreciate that, Josh. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was really fun to hear some of those pods. I'm like, oh, how nice. How nice. I felt like, oh, yeah, good to connect with those dudes. So much fun to get to meet them, Ilya and them, and I don't know if Eric's like a badass swimmer. That was one of the fun things that he like swims every day. He's kind of like one of those dudes who gets up at like 6 a.m. and runs like 5 or 6 miles
I could never.
in LA, and then like goes for a swim in Santa Monica. So every day after shooting, Eric and I think Ilya and like a group of like, it was like this macho swim. We're going to swim out to this buoy that was like way the hell out there. I'm like, all right, I'll sit this one out. I've never been like a water sports dynamo. But that was fun. Yeah. So anyways, I don't know where that came from. But it was nice to connect with all of those people through your podcast. So good stuff. Really good stuff.
Oh, I'm really glad you think that. I've been quite happy with being able to connect with so many of the actors. There are others I want to get hold of who are, much harder to reach out to. I don't have social media, so it's difficult, but I've done my best, and And speaking of which, because what I like to do on this, as you probably heard now, is I don't like to focus on just one key role. I like to look at a few other things. And one thing that really interested me about you, because we connected via LinkedIn, so I got to see a lot of your transformational coach work, you know, some of the things you've been doing since Payday. So I thought I'd give you a chance to talk a bit about that and, you know, tell people what you've been doing since. What's this all about with the coaching?
Yeah, so I don't know, I think it started about 10 years ago, roughly, but about 5 years ago, I started really committing super hard to this business. So I do a lot of coaching and speaking and working with companies, and I bring a lot that I've learned as an actor. So I bring the best of what I've learned as an actor from, you know, this kind of acting and also improv to work with companies to help them be more creative, collaborative, bold, confident, and fun. So I run these highly interactive, out of the comfort zone sessions for loads of companies to help them, you know, work with those things. So I have a workshop. I say what I'm most well known for is my workshop called Fail Gloriously.
Yeah,
And
I saw that. That sounded like a really interesting tagline.
Yeah, so I really help people embrace failure and change your mindset towards failure. So instead of looking at it as a problem, seeing it as an opportunity and failing gloriously. And this is a lot. This is a lot what we do in improvisation. Yeah. And so I work with a lot of companies that are extremely innovative, because if you want to innovate, failure is undefeated, right? It happens, like it's inevitable, it's a part of it. And really failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of winning. So I believe that the culture you create around this failure will define your success. So you don't just bounce back from failure, you bounce forward. So that's kind of like, you know, the essence of it. And so I do that a lot. I do this a lot with companies. I work a lot with innovative companies like Spotify and, you know, a lot of tech companies, all different kind of companies, because like almost every kind of company has to be thinking like a tech company these days or behaving like one. So yeah, and then I also work a lot with presenting and passion. So I help people really tap into their authentic voice and express their authentic passion. This is one of my favorite things to work with. So I do this session called Presenting Passionately, and I also turn this into an online course. So I have like an online video course as well. So that's fun. I love it. You know, Troy, I love working with people. It's like my favorite. I mean, I love acting, but acting is more of an ego-driven thing. It's more of like, this is for me. You know, like, and I enjoy it. And I know it definitely brings people sometimes. You know, theater's different because theater's a communal experience, especially improv. You're really collaborating with the audience. So I feel like that's one of those moments where that brings me the most joy as an actor, because you're all going through this experience, one moment in time, and then poof, it's gone forever. But I love to work with people, so I love to give people the best things that I've learned as an actor to help them crush their jobs.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, oh, I'm not an actor, I'm a designer, but I can use all this good stuff, you know, and put it into my world, and it helps me, you know, be more bold, be more, my company's called Bold and Confident. And that's really the goal, is to help people, teams, and cultures be more bold and confident.
That's
and
really
that gives
cool.
me that gets me really going. Like, you know, this sense of like contribution and like being of service to others. That is just the most exciting thing to me, to see people take big leaps and really, you know, get over their fear of failing and being judged and all these things that hold us back and make us play it small. And this work has really helped me transform my life, and so I just want to give it to others.
That's brilliant. I really like that, and it's good that you're able to do something that keeps up the energy. Because like even just from this conversation, we said about the spontaneity and the energy that you've got, being able to put that into something else as well as the acting, and you know, make the most of it. That's really good.
Yeah, thanks.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's really, really fun. And, you know, now I do it online, which has been great. Because because, before COVID, all of this stuff, all of my work was like person to person, like
In
face to
person,
face.
yeah.
It's very intimate in a way. It's very like explosive, out of the comfort zone. Lots of fun, laughter. A lot of stuff is just released. A lot of joy. And then when COVID happened, it was crazy. I was actually in Spain. We were in Lanzarote, which is like one of Spain's little islands near Africa, on vacation. And like all of a sudden the world was just like crumbling. It was like some weird, apocalyptic feeling, like we're on this island. The world's crumbling. And I had like 8 gigs set up, like company gigs, speaking, workshops in the next 2 weeks. And 7 of them got canceled in 48 hours while I was on vacation. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like,
yeah, that's when it hits.
Yeah, I'm like, shoot, this is trouble. And one gig, they're like, we're going to try and move this online. So I'm like, okay, cool. I've never done it. Let's try it. And it was on Zoom. And I gave an exercise, put everyone in breakout rooms, and they did it. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
This can work. So
it sounds legs, yeah.
Yeah, so I literally threw myself online. I went to every one of my clients, and I said, let me give you a free workshop. I started giving out these things on Friday called Fire Up Fridays. Me and some of my colleagues, and over 500 people came to these. They were like 20-minute energy boosts on Friday lunch. Yeah. And this was just a way to experiment, like what works online, what doesn't. And through that process, I found, like, through a lot of glorious failures in that too, I learned what works. And now I think I have delivered over 150 workshops online since the last, in the last, what has it been, like 13 months?
Something like that now, yeah, about 13 months.
Yeah, and it's been, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of learnings, but it's like otherwise my business would have died if I wasn't able to transfer it here. And I'm having a lot of fun doing it. Obviously I miss people because I'm a social person, and I miss
Same here. Yep.
Yeah, it hurts, and I was doing a lot, I would speak at conferences with like 400 or 500 people. I miss or having a group, but you actually get a lot of fun on Zoom. I make people do the weirdest stuff, Troy. Like, I do a lot of dancing online on Zoom. I trick people into dancing. And the funniest thing, like in the last year, I've seen less people ever in my whole life, but I've danced with over like 10,000 people online.
I have to admit, I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming at all. How do you trick somebody into dancing? How does that work?
Yeah, I tell people, like, I try to have a lot of energy in my sessions. It's really weird. Now that we're all working from home, people have no energy. Like, it's so hard to get people to even stand up for part of a meeting. So I get people up. I'm like, all right, we're going to stand up. We're going to do a movement exercise. And I tell them we're going to do this movement exercise together. And I'm like, this is what we're going to do. You're just going to mirror my movements. That's it. Just follow me, right? And I'll and then all of a sudden I'll do all this weird shit, like play with the camera and like disappear and do all this fun stuff. And then, and people are like, ooh, like instantly people start laughing. Like, it's fun. You know what I mean? It's super fun. And then I'm like, great. Okay, now you know how to do it. Now I'm going to put on a little bit of music. And I said, you're going to follow me when the music goes on. This is going to like influence the way I move. And then at some point, like, I might spotlight one of your screens and you'll show up big. And if I do that, don't freak out. It means you are leading the movements, right?
Oh my God.
And to like, don't worry about doing it good. Just be playful, be bold, and dare to be as uncool as possible. Like, that's a big part of my work, is letting go of the coolness, and just letting our uncoolness out. And then I put on super uncool music and we just go wild, like something really dramatic. I love like this, what is it? Holding Out for a Hero by Bonnie Tyler.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. That is my go-to cheesy, like dramatic dancing online song.
I can imagine that. I've not even seen one, but I can imagine that being a laugh.
It's so fun. It's so fun. And I've done it with like doctors, lawyers, tech, and I've done it with people who work on oil rigs in Azerbaijan. And they were so fun. I mean, I've danced with so many people. It's just a blast. Yeah.
It's good you're able to keep it the social aspect then. That was one of the reasons I did this podcast. It was something I was just like, well, I'm at home. Why not give it a go? Because I wanted to do something like this for such a long time and never really had the time to properly afford to it. And I was like, well, now I'm sat at home. What shall I do? Why not do this,
Yeah. And it's super inspiring, that you're doing it. And you're reaching out to people and you're making moves. I mean, what an amazing thing you're doing, Troy. I think it's awesome. I'm inspired now.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm just glad that I finally got a setup. We were talking about this a bit before about me having my new room because before it was so pro tem. I was saying to someone else was talking to on Monday that it was like my camera was a phone on some CDs. And it would like constantly move around because I couldn't prop it up. And I'm like, right, this I've got to check. I've got to like upgrade my room and get some stuff. So I spent like a week. I took a week off of like live streaming of videos of everything. I had a video like that was backed up that I could upload, so I could cover me while I was gone. I was like, right, let's do the room. Let's get it ready. And then finished. And I was like, I just love it. I mean, I've been adding more stuff to it every night now, and it's just it's good to finally have a proper setup for it. I think it's made me feel a lot better as well.
It's amazing.
Good fun, but
it's amazing.
I'm glad.
I'm like, I would love to do the full geek out session where you like walk me through the room and explain each poster and like,
I'm planning to do that for a video at some point. So if I do, I will send you the link so you can look through it.
Oh, you have to do it. You have to do it.
Will.
This is super fun. I do this stuff. This is one of the things I do with a lot of companies. I have a session called Uncool School, where you have everyone bring their like nerd stuff they get nerdy about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you're just all in on it. I love it.
Everywhere.
You know what I mean? And then you like describe. I have people bring one object and describe it. It's so fun to see what people get nerdy about, and I love that you're embracing it. You've got like the Captain America shield. Is that the Captain America? Oh my god!
It is indeed.
So who's your favorite one out of the Avengers?
Superhero?
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't know because I'm.
That's
I'm
a
big
bullshit
fan of,
answer. That's a bullshit answer.
I really like. Let me answer.
Sorry.
I like Iron Man and Captain Marvel are two of my faves, and also Black Widow's been growing on me a lot, so I'm really looking forward to her film. But there's not really any characters in particular that I dislike. There are loads that people don't really like as much. I really like all of them. It's just I have a few that stand out, but it varies between film because I think they're all so well done, and a lot of them are. I think they're more unique than people give them credit for. A lot of people say they're the same thing constantly, which I can understand why they say that, but I think there's lots of like little like. Without sounding too posh, there's lots of little nuances to them, that make them more unique and what and top how. But yeah, I love it. I think it's such good fun watching those movies because you just get to. It's like watching any film. You just lose yourself for a few hours and just enjoy getting absorbed into the world. It's like playing a game or doing something like this and finding out about other people. It's getting involved with other stuff and other people, and it's such good fun. I love all of it. It's brilliant.
Yeah. So if you could have, let's say, you could have one of their powers. How about that?
God, don't do that to me. Oh,
what
I don't
would it be?
know.
What would it be?
I don't know. That's not an easy question to answer.
All right, gun to your head. What is it, Troy?
I think teleportation would be a pretty cool one.
Okay.
I can't think of someone off the top of my head. I'm trying to think of someone off the top of my head who can do that.
Yeah, can anyone do
just
that?
Just as a power, that one's will be a really handy one. You need to get somewhere quick. Done.
Yeah, so good for the environment too.
Yeah, there you go. Let's say I did it for a moral reason and not for a selfish one. Yeah, for the environment. Exactly.
Yeah. They should have like the super moral superhero who everything they do is just for the planet. Maybe that exists. I don't know.
Maybe. There probably is someone out there. It's probably exactly like that. Yeah. Right. So the last kind of main topic that I want to go over with you is the future for you. So things you got coming up, and I think it's worth spending a little bit of time talking about a certain thing in particular. I don't know how familiar you are with the upcoming Payday 3. How much do you know about it?
I don't know jack about it. I don't know I know zero. All I know is I was at the closing. We had our closing dinner in Barcelona at this amazing seafood restaurant overlooking the sea and a bunch of yachts going, here's to Payday 3. And then finding out, boom, Starbreeze is in trouble.
Yeah, it did derail very quickly. I am just looking for a picture right now, and for the video users, at one point the camera on Josh will change while I send the picture, so when that happens, don't worry. There is a picture that came out recently, but the key information so far that we know about is the game is coming out now in 2 years' time. They haven't given a specific date, but they've said 2023. We know the publisher is Koch Media. I think you pronounce it Cock, but when I was doing videos on it, I didn't want to be saying that like constantly because that would just give a whole different we know it's coming out on a few different platforms, but the actual, core information about the game itself, we don't know a great deal about. We don't even know characters that are coming back. However, there was a picture. I have found it. There it is. So camera's going to change on the podcast for a moment while I send you this.
Cool.
Here you go. You should hopefully be able to see this in our chat once I send it. Can you see that picture?
Yeah.
Right, so that picture there was released when they announced the publisher about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now, I might be wrong here, but I think one of those people in that picture looks like your silhouette. I think personally, the one on the far right, I was looking at him and thinking, that looks a bit like the side of your head. And I'm talking to you now, so you can tell me whether or not you think that looks like you. Because I think it does. Some people agree, some people disagree, and there's a lot of kind of people discussing it right now. They don't really know who's in the silhouette. They're trying to take guesses. My guess so far is I'm not sure who the person on the left is, and that could be a new person, but I think I'm seeing, not sure on the left, then Eric, then Damien, and then you. I think that's where my head's at.
I like it, Troy. I like it.
What do you think from looking at it? Do you think you recognize anyone in it? Or, do you think it looks like anyone, I should say?
God, I hope it looks like me. That's all I got to say. Because it looks awesome.
That's the correct answer. That's the correct answer.
It looks awesome. Wow, I love it.
Yeah, that's the first real piece of anything we've had for the game. So it kind of has people now theorizing over which characters are coming back because we know so little. The game was first announced properly 5 years ago, and because of everything they've had with all the financial issues and things have gone wrong here and there. But the one thing they've said now in the company, they've sold off a bunch of rights to different games they were publishing. They've got rid of quite a lot of stuff and gone, right, we're just going to focus on Payday. That's the thing that we're known best for. It's the thing that's, we really need to put all our chips on black for that, and we're going to push that game out and get it out there and make it the best game possible. So, obviously, the leading question I have for you is, would you be interested in returning as either Bodhi or Hoxton or someone completely different in Payday 3?
Abso-fucking-lutely. Just to add
That's
another...
the correct answer.
Just to add another F-bomb.
Yeah, no, go for it, honestly. No, if you'd have answered any differently, I would have been surprised, so...
Yeah, it's fucking Payday, baby.
It is.
It's Payday, fellas. I would love to. Payday is so much fun. So much fun. Yeah, looks fun. It looks great. Really slick looking
there's
art.
a lot riding on this game, and I think they've got a lot more people behind them because they had such a smaller team when they made the first game, and it was only made across about 2 years. Now they've got much more time, a bigger developer team. They know that. I think this time they're really trying to push it as a AAA game because I wouldn't argue. I'm not even sure I'd argue now that Payday 2 is really a AAA game the way it was made, even though it's had loads of stuff since. When it launched, it was very much a smaller title. So I think this is going to be their first real push of full AAA game, and I'm hoping that what comes out will honor that. It's exciting for a lot of people, and there's a lot of people theorizing about it right now, and it's exciting to be a part of that. Yeah, it is exciting. It's super exciting. I can imagine Payday 3 will be a smash hit with all the fans. And just this picture looks gorgeous. Yeah.
Exactly. It gets me excited, Even if I'm not in it, I'll be excited. But I would definitely, I would love to be a part of it. Can't get enough Payday.
Yeah, it would be good to have you be a part of it. So beyond that, anything else coming up for you in the future that you want to tease or talk about?
You know what I think, though, Troy, before we get off that? I think...
go on.
I think if Hoxton's in it, he's got to get the scar back.
Yes.
I think he wants it back. You know what I mean?
I think he still has it in the game. I'm fairly sure his character never lost it. So I think it's only really in that Barcelona clip where you didn't have it.
You know what?
That was more of an isolated incident, hopefully.
Yeah, I think if Hoxton is in the game, he puts the scar back on himself.
Like the Joker pulls out a knife and just
just takes an iron and just, you know what I mean?
God.
Like, he wants it, baby.
He's got some heavy metal music on in the background. He just shoves an iron in his face, like, yeah.
Yeah, totally. The beach chair life, that's not for Hoxton. No.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we've said for a lot of the characters. There's a lot of debate over, how it'll line up, because that was meant to be, like, very much a terminus for a lot of those characters. And they're like, are they just going to ignore that teaser? Are they going to, adapt some of it and ignore some others? Because when they released that clip, there was also like a 5-minute like credit sequence afterwards that said, here's what every single character goes and does. They've all quit heisting. They're going off to do their own things. Which, that thing in itself is so easily ignored. That can just be a bit of fan service that we go, you know what? We put that there just to be a bit of a nice ending. We're ignoring that. Here are people coming back. Or for the characters that don't return, maybe those bits are true. We don't know. But it's just, there's so much you can theorize right now, and it is such good fun. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm expecting there to be some big news by the end of the year, because, they've obviously got to start really drumming up hype. I mean, we've not even had a trailer yet.
Okay.
So I'm waiting for, even the slightest teaser to come out, and then people will really pick it up, and it will hopefully just explode. You'll get loads of people talking about it.
Yeah. They usually put stuff like that out pretty early.
Yeah, like I'm thinking the first thing they'll do is just even like a little logo reveal with like a let's do this in the background or something, like just something to draw up the interest. I've said for a while I think they should do something like that, because I personally feel, and I've got no way of checking this obviously, but I personally feel as though most of the excitement right now are the people already in the community. People who are already actively involved or watch Payday content creators like myself, or just follow the devs on Twitter or whatever. They know through that it's coming, but I feel like people in the wider audience might not be quite as aware. People who maybe picked up Payday 2 and left it behind a few years ago, or people who've never heard of the game altogether. I think doing something like that and really pushing it out there would be a good way to drum up a bit more attention. And I'm hoping they will, do that soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. They really, I'm sure they will. I mean, it seems like they want to go big. Yeah, they'll have a plan, and, there's good people there, and hey, it's Cock Studios, so...
Do you see why I couldn't, like, in a video that was like 10 minutes long, I was constantly talking about that. I was like, if I say that, I'm just not going to be able to say it without laughing. I'll be going, and so Cock Media, I'll be like...
Cock Media presents Payday 3. It just sounds so dirty, all of it.
That's why I just say Koch. It probably is meant to be Cock from the way it's written, but I'm like, no, Koch Media. It's easier. Yeah. I'm not going to laugh at myself like a 5-year-old. It's easier to get the video out then. It's easier.
It's smart. I like it. Good call, Troy. But yeah, it looks super fun. Actually, I was just watching Heat the other night. I love Heat. I love
I haven't watched that, and I really need to. I bought the Blu-ray for ages ago, and I was like, because this was the film that inspired Payday. It's the one I haven't watched, so
what?
I need to. Yes, I know. I need to. It's criminal, and I
Troy.
Yes.
We need to educate you. Mellow out on the superheroes for a night, and take some of the 2,000 hours off and watch Heat, my friend. Okay?
I will watch Heat, and I will tell you when I watch it.
I was watching Heat, and I'm like, ooh. One of the characters in that, Michael Chirito, I think he's kind of the Hoxton character. The action, and when you watch it, it'll be like, ooh, yeah, the action is the juice for me. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, that's Hoxton, baby. Burn the face with the iron. Get back in the action. Yeah, and I thought about Heat, and I love it because it's the great bank scene. But definitely, Payday 3 is gonna be huge.
Yeah, I think we're all hoping for that, and I think it'll hopefully be a fantastic game. It's exciting,
Yeah, no doubt. It's definitely exciting.
So beyond that, is there anything else coming up for you that you want to talk about or tease or?
I've kind of been like this last year I've done couple video game shoots. I've been like not doing theater. I think that's the thing I'm longing for the most, is to get back on a stage.
Yeah.
And I was on a stage once in the last, 14 months, and I'm missing that. So that will be the first thing I like run towards. And I'm so focused on my coaching, speaking stuff that I'm not looking for any gigs right now. You know what I mean? I'm not searching around for any TV or if something interesting comes up, but I'm so loving the work I do. And, you know, so many things to be grateful for with this time off is like I used to travel a lot for work, and I get to be with my kids so much.
Yeah.
I coach basketball on both my boys' teams. I'm an assistant coach.
Wow.
Yeah. And actually, the thing I'm looking forward to most is we're actually moving to Spain.
Wow.
Yeah, we're moving to Mallorca, my family and I. So I think we've really realized, like, through this year, hey, we could live anywhere. You know, it's opened up a lot of stuff. Like, we can make a living online. Let's go on an adventure. Let's try something new. And to be honest, I'm from California. Sweden is so goddamn cold. I'm just like, I've been, you know, for years I've been like making the best of it and like seeing the positive in it. And I'm just ready for some sun and some beach. So we're going on a little Spain adventure for at least a year. So I'm looking forward to that.
That sounds like a good time, yeah, definitely. And there are definitely worse places than Mallorca. That seems like a pretty nice place to set up.
Right? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. So, yeah, otherwise, no big projects that I know of yet. But yeah, if anyone wants to come to one of my workshops, those are fun, you know.
Well, here we go then. It's the time where I just let whoever the guest is just be a massive sellout. Any and all websites, social medias, anything you want to share that people can follow you on, keep up to date with you, go for it. Anything and everything.
Oh, God. I would say the only social media platform I'm active on is LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I do a lot of videos. I do a lot of stuff. LinkedIn is actually the one social media network where I'm like, okay, there's not a lot of ranting. There's not a lot of like negative stuff on there. It's more like, you know, work-based stuff. And I got really tired of Facebook and Instagram. So I haven't been active on either of those for a long time. So I know some people have connected with me there, but I'm not doing anything there. So yeah, if you're interested in what I do for business, I would say connect with me on LinkedIn for sure. And I do some of that, like joshlenn.com is where I put some stuff. And that's about it. Not a lot of hype.
Keeping it consolidated.
Keeping it consolidated. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping, you know, some of the Payday ultra super nerds enjoy this talk we've just had, because it's been a load of fun for me, Troy, just to go back through some of this stuff.
Oh, I'm really glad to hear it. It's been good fun to hear all this stuff from you.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like, there's a lot in there. I'm sure there's plenty more, but it was just fun to have some of it come up when you reached out to me. It just made me happy to. I don't know about this time for you, but I've definitely gotten nostalgic in the last year about stuff.
Oh yeah.
And when you contacted me, I just got like, I noticed myself just smiling, like, oh yeah, Payday. Love it. So many good feelings, so many good memories, so many good people involved in the game. And I think that's just what's stuck with me the most, is how lovely everybody is.
Yeah, the community is lovely. They have such a respect for, you know, all the actors involved and the each other in the community that's within it. You know, it's one of the nicer communities you have for gaming. And it's nice to see. It is really nice to see. The only time people really tend to get argumentative or like overly passionate is when they're talking about things within the game. You know, it's like, oh, this is better, no, you're being stupid, this is better. It's like they get so involved with the game itself, it's almost kind of like nice to see people argue over it because they're so passionate, you know?
Totally. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But yeah, so thank you very much for coming on, Josh. It has been an absolute blast. I'm really glad we could do this.
Thank you, sir. It was my pleasure. And
yeah, I'm glad. It's been good, especially the behind the scenes stuff. There was some really cool things there that I just had no idea about that was really cool to hear about, especially the Hoxton. I'm still like buzzing over the fact that everyone else in Hoxton was a stunt actor. That still got me like, wow. So the only actor was just you surrounded by everyone else, so the focus really was on you. It was fantastic.
And
there's some really good bits.
Some badass stunt actors too. One of my favorites is Madeline. Maddie. God, what is her last name? I don't remember it off the top of my head. But Maddie is a badass. She's the one woman in there. She's the cop who gets her head blown off by
Dallas, yeah.
By Dallas, yeah. So when we were filming that, there's this big explosion, right? And Maddie's right in front of it. And then they had these ropes around the stunt people. They pulled them, right? They just yanked them. So you see them go like that. And they land on these big mats. And I'm lying down underneath the explosions, right? Like I'm below it. I'm down with the dollar in my hand. I said it's Payday.
Yeah.
And then it's like, boom. And Maddie's right in front of it. And we're all setting up. We're setting up for the shoot. You know, it's like a big explosion. So we're going to do it once. They loaded all kinds of shit into these things. And like dirt, all kinds of stuff. And they're like, okay, the explosion's going to go off on 3, you know? And they're like, okay, lights. You know, they're like, and we're all in place. And they're like, sound, rolling. And then it was like, boom, it just explodes like way before, right? And it explodes right in Maddie's face. You know,
oh no,
because she wasn't ready for it at all. All this stuff comes boom right in her face, and it like cuts up her face. You know, it was just brutal. It just did not look fun.
Oh god.
And man, and she just like, took it and sucked it up.
Just shrugged up, dusts the shoulder, and just goes, all right, what's the next scene?
Yeah, but it wasn't that easy, you know, but you could tell it was like, this didn't feel good. And she really pulled herself together, and then we had to do it again. And I was just wicked impressed that she was able to take that kind of hit and then mentally get ready to do it again, you know? And all those people are such pros. And it makes you feel as an actor super safe to work with people like that who are just great at their work. And it was a blast, but I'll never forget that, seeing that thing go off right in her face. It was brutal.
Damn, yeah, I can imagine that. That's not just getting all that stuff shoved in your face and then being like, okay, what are we doing next? And just like clenching her fist, just trying not to scream out. Oh God, yikes.
Yeah.
I could not be a stunt actor. I don't have the bravery for that.
No, totally. She's also an actor too. She does we've done a bunch of other games together, like Wolfenstein and a bunch of different stuff. She's great.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of great people. All those people have been in so many different video games, I think, because there's so many developers in Stockholm. You know, all the kids here grow up in the darkness and play games and games and games and then make amazing games when they're older. So there's a lot of developers here. But yeah,
cool.
You know, and they use and there's an amazing mocap studio here, Goodbye Kansas. I don't know if you know it, but like.
No, I've not heard of it.
No, but so I think these people not only do great live action stuff, but they've also done a lot of vids. Yeah, man, cool.
Yeah, so it's been a blast. Thank you very much for coming on, Josh. I've really, really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Troy. Take care. Have a great one.
You too, man.